Hey everyone, my name is Drew and welcome back to Novelytic. Today I'm going to be doing a very late July TBR. So for July, I am taking a part in 3 different readathons. The Olympic Readathon, which is a Percy Jackson inspired readathon that is hosted by Ishi at Ishi Time. By Ishi, who I will link down below, as well as the Buddy Readathon. Once again, I will link that Twitter down below. That is being hosted by Elise. And then, in addition, I will be doing Jane Austen July. So first, I want to take you through my TBR for the Olympic Readathon. I am on Team Athena. So here are the 5 mandatory prompts that I need to complete. The first prompt is to read a book that takes place at a school, and I will be reading Bunny by Mona Awad. This book is a dark academia horror. I heard it's a wild ride, but it's about this one particular person, Sam or Samantha, who is in a very small prestigious writing program, and she is sort of isolated. She's an outcast, where the remainder of her cohort are all referred to as the bunnies, like they call each other Bunny. That's all I know. Very strange. Very weird. The next prompt is to read a middle grade, and for this I will be reading Amari and the Night Brothers by Jane Austen. This has been super hyped on BookTube. It's one of Gavin's favorites. All I know is that it follows Amari, whose brother has gone missing, and she finds his ticking briefcase, which sort of leads her into the supernatural affairs or something like that, and she has to face these trials in order to try and find her brother, who she believes is dead. The next prompt is to read a book that involves some sort of mission or quest, and for this I will be reading Where the Mountain Meets the Moon by Grace Lynn. Again, heard nothing but good things about this. It is a Newbery Honor book, which that's great because normally a lot of times Newbery Honor books center around white protagonists, and this is in fact not. So in this, young Min Lee lives in the Valley of Fruitless Mountains, where she and her parents spend their days working hard on the fields. At night, Min Lee listens to her father's tale about the old man in the moon who knows the answers to everything. Min Lee sets out on a quest to find the old man in the moon. He will know how she can bring good fortune to her family. Along the way, she meets many magical friends, including a talking fish, a powerful king, and a dragon who can't fly. Sounds like a wild ride. I cannot wait to read this book. I've, again, heard nothing but fantastic things. The next prompt is to read a book by your favorite author, and since I have read Nevo's complete works, I figured I'd move to a poet, and for this I will be reading Take Me With You by Andrea Gibson. Andrea Gibson is one of my favorite poets, and this sort of includes excerpts from different projects that Andrea Gibson has done. And lastly, for the main prompts, is to read a book with a gray cover, and I will be reading The Rise of Kyoshi, which is the first in a duology. It is by F.C. Lee, and it is inspired by Avatar: The Last Airbender. Kyoshi is one of the super badass characters that shows up in maybe a few episodes, but can't wait to read it. I don't even know what it's fully about, except for that it follows Kyoshi, and she is definitely a character I wanted to know more about. In addition to the main prompts, if there is time, I would like to participate in the extra prompts or the extra challenges. The first one is to read a book with a character who you may not get along with, and for this I chose Clash of Kings by George R.R. Martin. I don't like any of the characters in Game of Thrones likable. There might be one, but other than that, not so much. There are plenty of people in this book who I would not get along with, but this is the second book in the Game of Thrones series. Read the first book 10,000 years ago, and you need to continue with the series. The next is to read a book under 200 pages, and for this I will be reading the 1.5 installment of the Cruel Prince series, the Folk of Air series, which is The Lost Sisters by Holly Black. This follows the Cruel Prince. Again, I don't really know much about it. I'm assuming it has to do with the 2 twins that go missing from Earth. But I figured, again, let's continue with the series. The next book is to read a book published within the last 5 years. So I will be reading In the Ravenous Dark by A.M. Strickland, which is also the book that I'm currently reading for the Buddy Readathon. We're kind of going along as we go. We don't have a set TBR, but yeah, so A.M. Strickland's In the Ravenous Dark follows our main character, who is a pansexual blood mage. Never read anything like that, but it sort of follows like how she gets caught and how she gets involved with like all the politics and this political battle, maybe physical battle, I don't really know, but I can't wait to read that one. The next prompt is to read a book that involves magical creatures, in which I will be reading Ariadne by Jennifer Saint. This is a new release, which I actually spoke about in recent book haul, I believe, but it follows Ariadne is a feminist retelling who is the princess of Crete, and then she's most known for her myth with Theseus and the Minotaur, but then I guess it follows more of her life. The next is a book that takes near the water, or takes place near or on water, and I'll be reading The Ones We're Meant to Find by Joan He. So this follows two sisters, one in which who is on this abandoned island and like develops this AI, whereas the other lives on this, it's called an eco city, but it's about their journey towards finding each other. Obviously we got water. The next one is to read a book that is next in a series, and because I need to complete series, I figured I'd continue on with The Wicked King by Holly Black, which is the second installment in the Folk of Air series. I'm not going to go into much what this is about because it is a sequel, but in The Cruel Prince we see Jude, her twin, sort of getting pulled away from the regular world into the Fey world. And this just follows the events that happened in book one. And the last extra prompt is to read your most anticipated release of the year. Now, I already read my two most anticipated releases, so now I will be reading The Maidens by Alex Michaelides. Again, I mentioned this in a recent video, but this follows a student who believes that their professor is a killer. That's all I want to know. So now on to my Jane Austen July. The first prompt is to read one of Jane Austen's main 6 novels, which I will be reading The Buddy Read of Mansfield Park. I actually don't know what it's about. Follows Fanny Price. That's all I know about it. So the next prompt is to read a Jane Austen work that is not one of her main 6 novels, and for that I will be reading the poetry of Jane Austen and the Austen Family. I found this at a used bookstore, and I love poetry, I love Jane Austen, so why not go for that? The next is read a nonfiction about Jane Austen, so I will be reading Jane on the Brain by Wendy Jones, exploring the science of social intelligence with Jane Austen. Sounds intriguing. The next is to read a contemporary of Jane Austen, which I think I will be reading Frankenstein. I'm not sure. This is on my TBR, but I might choose to read something else instead. Cover. It's really cool, and I mean, I want to read it just because it's pretty. And the last 2 prompts are reading prompts. One of them is to read a direct screen adaptation, so I will be watching Pride and Prejudice, the 2005 version, because that is my absolute favorite. And then the other one is to read a more modern adaptation, which I will be watching more of the Lizzie Bennet Diaries. Once again, thank you for watching. Please consider subscribing and giving this video a thumbs up. Until next time, bye.